Hey, what's up, guys? The horror movie magazine Apocalypse continues this Shocktober. Going round two with Fango. All right. So now coming here. Now, like I said, a lot of these magazines, like Rue Morgue, they're all gonna talk about the same things because the things are released. Like that folk horror documentary, and of course this new Chucky TV show. Right? So I'm talking with Don Mancini. Right? Increasingly queer universe. Yes, it is. uh, and the concept, like BTD had put up forward the concept of good boy points, right? The social credit, right? This score, and we got Mr. Mancini here, right? He's got 1, 2, 3. He's got 3 plus on the good boy or good person points. But another concept I want to put forward is whether it's the interviewee or the interview, right? You always have a statement. Like a question is not just a question, okay? Feelers, right? They're statements. They want to know where you're at, and they want to show where they're at. It's very interesting seeing this system, the semantic system, that reflects the people in this upper class, middle class, bourgeois, white world. Okay, status is important, and falling out of that status is a risk that's very, very. These people can lose it at any moment. Okay, in the world that the system that has been set up. So we'll go here with whoever the interviewer is. The notion of gender as a construct is certainly a huge topic of conversation now. Yeah, a conversation where we can have one you can only go in one direction. You can't even have a nuanced answer to things. Okay, it's kind of funny. You were definitely ahead of the game in 2004 with Glenda, right? That's in Seed of Chucky, right? Was it Glenn or Glenda? Who was that? The guy they say was the worst filmmaker in history, and he actually wasn't, to be frank. One of the few positive portrayals of a gender questioning character. Okay. So I thought it was funny here. Mancini's like, I was also very aware of the debts that I, as a gay man, owed to my trans brothers and sisters. Oh boy, dude, come on, man. You're laying it on a bit thick, mate. Well, the funny thing though is that what I'm saying between the interviewer and the interviewee, you have to keep putting out things. We keep putting out that you're good. You're good. Okay, you want to work, right? All the bad people are losing their jobs now for some reason. So it's just, it's an interesting dynamic to see play out in literally every facet of life. So we'll go. Let's see through you here. We'll leave Chucky alone. Yeah. There's something interesting here about Malaysian horror, and they had problems with the Islamic Puritanism began in the 80s. Have any of you ever read the Quran? I actually have, believe it or not. I read 3/4 of it. All right. It gets very repetitive, but it's kind of cool. The Asian horror, the different. Horror has an appeal to everybody. Okay, look how liberal I am. So now, here we go here. Last Night in Soho. This is Edgar Wright. Remember, we all used to like those movies. Simon Pegg, Nick Frost. I don't really like them as much now. Maybe because Simon Pegg has said too many good boy things for me to stomach. But also because it seemed like it was from another time. Doesn't it? It seems like a lot of things. The things from the past that have relevance are very different than even just stuff from the 2000s. But whatever. And then once again, we have another thing where the interviewer is putting forth, making sure that you know exactly where he or she is at. The other danger of pining for the good old days, right? This is in reference to the actress being interviewed. I think Edgar was really interested in a lot of the time people look back on the 60s as being really exciting and magical. Really? I don't know, 1960s, Vietnam, social upheaval, all the major cities in America becoming, burning and becoming, literally becoming crime-infested hellholes. Really, that's divorce rising, all these things. Really, you look at it as magical. Well, I guess if you are a millennial, upper class bourgeois young woman, I guess you would think that. So, and so once again, back to the interview in reference to that. The other danger of pining for the good old days is that for women especially, the good old days weren't all that good. I know families, children, communities, a sense of place. I know, really, really horrible. Unlike now, Don't worry, the antidepressants in the box of wine will help you, in the cold nights to come. As an older woman by yourself in a neighborhood of people who don't look like you. I know, I'm a scumbag, right? So we go here. Oh, there she is. What a cute bird. Eh? So we got a comic here. This is actually interesting. The history of like horror. The whole Monster Kid era. Going into the modern era here. Some little political things in here, of course. But some of the cool things I like here. You had the older VHS days. You would call me This guy got trolled too. And you have also the VHS. Great old VHS, man. You got the video nasties. Right, where's your films, mate? Right, that whole thing with censorship. They keep focusing on back then, where you obviously the censorship today is through the roof. But what's the old thing? Oh, it's not the government doing it, so it's okay that the corporations that we hated are doing it are fine, because they're doing what we want. Which is not hypocritical. Okay, it's power being wielded. Okay? It's not hypocrisy. You want the other guy not to be able to do what you can do. Okay? The stakes are too high, as you can see. This was interesting here. They brought up the kung fu movies. Oh, that's a gon. What is it? How they pronounce guanxi? These are the Chinese vampires. I thought that was cool. And I like how they brought up too a lot of the protesters for these movies. A lot of them, they're religious right people, which they admit, of course, the feminists that were against all this stuff. But they also mentioned that many of these people were hired to do this by the filmmakers to make publicity. Right? And we got here the racially charged plot lines and frank depictions of sexuality showed greater representation. Though admittedly not always the most honest or desirable variety. Well, I mean, Blackula is a great film, man. William Marshall does an amazing acting job in there. Okay, of course, Pink Flamingos was directed by a gay man, so that's on them. And Sleepaway Camp, actually, Sleepaway Camp wasn't. It was all right. The ending is totally ridiculous, but hey, man, we go. Here now, representation begin to improve as well, for real this time. Yeah, okay. Stories that reflected their experience. And we got, of course, that's right. Joe Bob is crushing these puppets. I always like Joe Bob. So I like this thing here too. They're like, regardless what happens, one thing is for certain: it's a great time to be a horror fan. I would say the great time to be a horror fan was probably the late 70s and the 80s, early 80s, right? And then I would say the 2000s when the DVD revolution occurred. I keep bringing up the DVD revolution. It was interesting because it elevated a lot of people that were now gone. And it gave people an insight into the films. You could say, well, it took the mystique out of it. Like with wrestling, when everybody became smart marks, the allure of wrestling was gone. Actually, that made it better. The smart mark stuff was more appropriate. You're not a little kid watching Hogan anymore, in Saturday night's main event. You're a jaded Gen Xer or whatever. You want to know the real scuttlebutt. It made it more interesting. Okay? Same thing goes for the horror. So now we'll wrap up this round here with the. I remember I had gone over this in the queer issue of Rumor a couple of years ago with the Dragula, the Boulet brothers, who are not brothers. They're actually, I think they're an item. But there's a DIY thing. They made their own show, pretty much to themselves. So you got to have some respect for that, even though there's some. I mean, it's really disgusting things. Like what is this? We had blood wrestling. Is that really a blood wrestling in a gay leather bar in Los Angeles? Is blood wrestling? I hope it was fake blood. Is that really a good idea? But regardless, the whole thing with this is the editor is in here. Okay, he's doing this, I guess, article. I guess it's not really. It's an interview article, and so now, just like what Mancini did, and now I fill in the blank. I, a middle-aged straight man, and being asked to criticize them. He's a judge on one of the episodes here. As the Boulets point out, drag is art, and art is subjective. So it's not the art that's being judged, but still. I'm standing on the set full of next level drag performers in a t-shirt and jeans. Who the hell do I think I am? Oh, come on, man. Please, we're putting out the statement there. None of these upper class bourgeois people, none of them, all that stuff that, this masochism, right? There's a real thing where like, these people are masochists. They're self-hating. No, this dude thinks he's awesome. He's just putting that out there. Okay? I'm not saying that there's any, I don't know, in ruling elites, there's any sociopathy going on. I'm not saying that. But what I will say is that, he is putting out his good boy points right here. Look. So I thought that was interesting. Can you imagine how pompous is that? Like, in these goings down, as a fill in the blank, as a Gen X, postmodern, angry, straight, European descended. I mean, who the fuck cares what I am or what I'm about or whatever? Who cares? They care. It's very important to them. See, that's the thing. Your reaction is to not think of this. Meanwhile, the people in power are using this, and it's working. And you not using it out of principle is not working for you. But anyway, getting off on a tangent. And who is it? And dude, every white dude from their late 20s to like their 60s looks like this. Chubby, fat, with a beard. So anyway, the interesting thing about the actual show was apparently one of the drag queens is actually they say a cis woman. It's actually a woman doing a drag. They bring up Elvira and Dolly Parton, But it's kind of funny that one of them's a woman, right? I guess she has an unfair advantage, doesn't it? But she's in a male-dominated scene, so wouldn't it be interesting if there was like a character who was like a straight guy, who just had a bad time in a war or something, and he became a drag queen because it was the only way he could make money, so he had to lie about being gay, and he makes money being a drag performer in a club. Wouldn't that be an interesting character? Imagine if someone had a comic with a character like that, amongst others. It would be very interesting, wouldn't it? Maybe it wouldn't. So anyway, whatever. It's I have more issues. I don't have any issues. It's just more with the editor than these guys. Whatever they're doing what they're doing. Look, it's all decadence. It's all everything is dying. It's decaying. It's been doing it for a while. So I might as well enjoy yourself. Whatever you want to do. Right? The old gods are gonna return, dude. Anyway, you know what? Let me finish this up with this dude here. So this was also a very interesting, kind of all over the place article. Okay, with my least favorite Fessenden film, Wendigo. But an area is younger dude when he was younger, I guess. But and we'll finish this up with the rounds. Okay, later.